Welcome back, Warner fam. Today, I'm going to recap the 2025 action thriller, Cleaner. Keep your eyes wide open and stay safe. This one's intense. The movie starts in a home filled with chaos. Little Jo, just a kid, finds no peace. Her parents are always fighting. The only place she feels safe is by sneaking through the kitchen cabinets and sitting out the window watching the world outside. 20 years later, Jo wakes up, just like every other day. It's late, but she's used to it. She quickly gets dressed and heads out the door for work. She's a cleaner, scrubbing away dirt in the worst parts of the city. That's when the phone rings. It's from her brother, Michael. He has autism and works for a company, but things aren't going well. Jo rushes to the office only to find the manager furious. Michael messed with the company's data and leaked files to the press. Now the manager says he's getting fired with no payout. Jo's face turns red with anger. This is Michael's 8th job, and she's had enough. But the manager doesn't care. He's just glad they're not pressing charges for the data theft. As they're about to leave, Jo gets another call. This time, it's from her workplace. They tell her that if she doesn't get to work in 2 hours, she's getting fired too. With no other choice, she grabs her brother and rushes out the door. They race to the bike, but it won't start. Frustrated, they're forced to take the bus. But things get worse. They board the wrong bus. Panicking, they scramble off and race to find the right one. When they finally arrive at work, the elevator ride isn't any better. Jo finds herself face to face with the CEOs, Jeffrey and Gerald. A pregnant woman steps in next. Gerald looks disgusted, then makes a rude joke, saying the woman should be at home. Morgan, standing next to her, fires back. "If you paid for maternity leave," she says, "maybe she wouldn't have to be here." Jo finally meets her boss, Derek. He's not happy. Because she's late, he assigns her the toughest job in the building, cleaning the highest windows of the skyscraper. As she gets to work, Noah joins her. Meanwhile, Michael's stuck under the watchful eye of a security guard. But the guard isn't paying attention. That's Michael's chance. He quietly starts snooping around the company, looking for something, anything, useful. Downstairs, the CEOs, Jeffrey and Gerald, are being interviewed by a TV host. She's there to talk about the company's growing energy system. She mentions their big shareholder gala tonight. Jeffrey speaks confidently, talking about all the good the company does for the world. His brother Gerald, on the other hand, only grunts in agreement, not saying much. Noah seems really fond of Jo. As they stand high up in the tall building, he looks out at the city below. He makes a strange comment. "All flesh is grass," he says, wondering what the world was like before humans came and messed everything up. Just then, Derek's voice comes through, cutting off their conversation. He tells Jo to hurry up and finish cleaning because the company's shareholders party is about to start. Noah, looking concerned, tells Jo he's worried about Michael. He insists she should take him somewhere nice after work, somewhere far away from all this. Meanwhile, in the gala hall, decorations are being set up. Gerald, though, doesn't seem to care about the party. He keeps taking little hits of happy powder, losing himself in his own world. Jo is still cleaning late into the night when Michael shows up. He looks tired and says he wants to go home, but Jo can't let him leave. She tells him her shift isn't over, and if he stays up here, she'll lose her job. So she insists he waits downstairs while she finishes. Jo's nearly done with the cleaning when Derek interrupts. He says there are still plenty of windows left to clean. With no choice and not wanting to lose her job, Jo keeps working through the night. As she moves around, Jo notices something strange. Derek has locked her out of the lift controls, taking them for himself. It's dark, and Jo almost slips, her sponge flying from her hands and hitting someone passing by. Meanwhile, a masked group sneaks into the building. They claim to be the performers for the gala, but something about them feels off. Jo finishes cleaning and quickly calls Derek, begging him to let her out. But Derek doesn't care. He's a jerk, and he ignores her plea, wanting to punish her for being late earlier that day. Finally, he pulls the lever, sealing her fate. Meanwhile, down at the gala, Jeffrey is giving a speech about the company's success. But his brother Gerald is bored. He sneaks off with his girlfriend to another room to do some questionable things. Back in the control room, things take a dark turn. The masked men attack, shooting Derek and the others dead. As Derek falls, his body slams into the lever, causing the lift to suddenly drop. One of the masked men is a hacker. He quickly takes control, overriding the company's security system and data. Inside the event hall, the masked men suddenly release a gas. It knocks everyone out cold, except for the crew, who are wearing gas masks to stay awake. Once the guests are unconscious, the masked group moves on to phase 2 of their plan. Jo sees it from outside, but since she's locked out of the building, she has no choice but to wait for help. Meanwhile, Michael is running around inside the building. He eventually finds a safe room to hide in, hoping to stay out of danger. The masked men gather the shareholders and everyone working for the company, preparing them for a big confession. One of them pulls out guns and hands them out to the others. Z, the hacker, calmly explains it will take about 4 hours for the people without masks to wake up. The leader of the masked group steps forward, introducing himself as an activist with an organization called Earth Revolutionists. His mission is clear: protect the Earth and its environment from anyone who harms it. He makes it clear that they will take down any company or person who stands in their way. He promises the people they've captured will be set free if they cooperate, but first, they will be interrogated. Meanwhile, Z makes sure all the radios are jammed so no one can call for help or get in touch with the outside world. As the group gathers everyone together, they notice someone's missing. It's Gerald, one of the Milton brothers. When they ask Jeffrey about his brother, he stays silent. To get answers, one of the masked men breaks Jeffrey's fingers, forcing him to talk. The masked group heads to Gerald's room. They put a breathing mask on him and wake him up, while Joe watches from the window outside. Gerald tries to tell his captor that someone is outside the window, but the man can't see anyone. Then, Gerald's captor pulls off his mask, revealing that it's actually Noah, Joe's cleaning partner. Noah quickly grabs a trolley and pushes Gerald, taking him to join the rest of the group. Joe panics, yelling for help, but her voice can't reach anyone. It's too far from the ground. Thinking quickly, she ties a rope to the lift and begins to carefully lower herself down. The leader of the masked group pulls off his mask, revealing himself as Blake. He tells everyone to stay calm. Jeffrey, confused, thinks they've come for money. Noah makes it clear they're not here for money, slapping him across the face to emphasize the point. Z then plays a video on a screen, showing the company's corrupt practices over the years. The video reveals that the company has been secretly polluting the earth. They've been hiding behind a fake green world image, working with investors and media to cover up their damage to the environment. One of their so-called green advocates had been trying to expose their pollution, but she was found dead shortly after. It turns out the company was behind it, but with their power and money, they used the media to spread lies and cover up the truth. The woman's death meant nothing because justice was never served. Blake steps forward and promises that the world will soon know about the lives the company has destroyed. He says that once the company's stock starts to drop, their mission will be complete, and everyone will be set free. Desperate, Jeffrey tries to bribe Blake, but this only makes Noah angrier. He grabs a wine bottle and forces it down Jeffrey's throat, causing Blake to rush over and hold him back. Blake warns Noah to calm down, reminding him of their plan. He tells Noah that they're not here to kill, but to change the lives of the powerful who've hurt so many. But it looks like Noah has his own plan. As his gang walks in, they reveal strapped bombs, ready for action. While everyone is distracted, Joe finds some jelly inside the lift's compartment. She spreads it on the window and lights it up. The SOS message shines brightly, and everyone on the ground floor can see it. Now, the police will be on their way. Blake realizes what's happening and quickly sends Noah to take care of Joe. Meanwhile, Gerald sees the chaos and runs to one of his rooms. Noah finds Joe and tells her to come up so he can focus on Gerald. Blake spots Gerald and tries to grab him, but his gun accidentally fires, shattering the glass. Noah joins them, gun ready to kill Gerald, but Blake warns him not to be foolish. They're so close to winning, but Noah doesn't listen. He shoots Blake instead. The people who were loyal to Blake are also shot and killed. Blake's body is thrown out the window, and just before he falls, he shoots Jeffrey in the leg, making sure he can't escape. Joe steps closer to Blake's lifeless body. She picks up his gun and phone. Michael shows up, but quickly hides when he hears footsteps approaching. The sound of police sirens echoes in the distance. Noah quickly calls the emergency line, pretending to be a hostage. He uses the pregnant cleaner as a shield, threatening to kill her unless she fires her gun into the street, making the police focus on her. This buys them some time. A police helicopter arrives overhead, and a sniper is ready, waiting for orders. They're watching, making sure everything is in place. Since the news has already labeled her as the suspect in the attack, Noah tells Z to wire $33 million from the company's account into Joe's account, making everything look even more suspicious. Detective GV arrives on the scene and is quickly briefed on what's happening. One of the officers explains that according to Joe's profile, she was once in the Marines. She passed the selection process but had to quit after defending herself from her spotter, who assaulted her. The ground officer arrives soon after, ready to follow orders and shoot Joe, but the detective stops him, telling him not to act too quickly. She points out that Joe sent an SOS message, which shows she's asking for help. There's no way she could be one of the attackers. Just then, they discover that Joe received $33 million. The men now think she needs to be taken down, but the detective still insists they hold off for a bit longer. Joe moves closer to Blake's body and takes his phone. Suddenly, the crane shakes, and Blake's body falls, but Joe manages to hold on. Just Just then, the detective gets a call from Joe. She begs the detective not to shoot, pleading for help to keep her brother safe. Meanwhile, the shareholders and employees of Agni and Company are filmed making their individual confessions. As they dig deeper into the activist group, they uncover a video of Noah from years ago, where he posted about saving the planet. They learn that Blake was a pacifist who worked to stop Agnian's operations without causing harm. However, when they find out that Blake was killed by Noah, the detective realizes that Noah is the real terrorist. Inside the building, Noah is given electronic braces that react to his emotions. If he gets too angry or upset, the braces will detonate in 5 seconds, killing him and everyone nearby. The detective tries to convince Noah to release the hostages, but Noah says they're still in the middle of confessions. He promises to let some go after that, but the rest will stay until a clear path is given. While negotiating, Noah spots a group of police officers getting closer to the building. He warns them they have 5 seconds to back off. As they hesitate, Noah sets off a bomb that blows up one of the officers. The detective quickly realizes that the chief of ground operations went behind her back and ordered the officers to move forward. She warns him not to make that mistake again. Z hears the news and starts to question if she made the right choices. Calls the detective and tells her that he wants to go inside and save his brother. The police quickly spot something coming her way and warn her to be careful. Acting fast, she uses her childhood skills to climb through the windows, reaching the other side just before it explodes. However, the blast knocks her off balance. With backup from the police, she instructs the sniper to shoot a hole in the window so she can break in and enter the building. Meanwhile, the news has labeled Noah and his group as terrorists after the deaths of 5 police officers. After many tries, Joe finally breaks through the glass with her brother's help. The team soon learns that she's still alive and goes after her. The duo hides in a generator room while the men search for them. Joe catches one of the bad guys off guard and beats him by pushing his face onto a steam pipe. The second guy tries to shoot, but Michael, who is autistic, uses his Thor hammer to hit him in the head. It doesn't work, and the bad guy throws him around. Seeing this, Joe grabs a gun, kills the first guy, and immediately turns to shoot the second guy, taking them both down. As they try to run, they're trapped by the last guy, but Joe shoots the steam pipe, making the bad guy scream in pain. She manages to survive, and a fierce fight begins as both women face off in combat. The bad guy grabs a gun but has to wait for a few seconds. Autistic Michael throws a grenade that explodes, throwing her out of the building and causing her to fall to her death. Z gets the video ready to show the world, but during Noah's speech, he mentions that by the time the world sees the video, they'd all be dead. This isn't what she signed up for, so she tries to run. One of the men chases after her and shoots. He's about to finish her off, but Joe shows up just in time and takes him out. Joe and Michael make it to the control room, and Michael stops the video before it can go public. She calls Noah and tells him that his plans are ruined now, as she's destroyed the evidence. Now, all his actions and killings don't matter anymore. Michael grabs the hard drive from the computer as they make their way out of the building. Joe calls the detective and tells her to bring in their men, warning that Noah will come after her and asking her to look after her autistic brother. Joe gives Noah her location so they can come after her while the police sneak into the building. The detective tells the team not to kill Noah because once his pulse stops, the whole building will go down with it. Joe catches one of the bad guys off guard and takes him out, while the police reach the hostages and stop the rest of the bad guys. Joe finds the other bad guy checking on his partner and quickly slashes him with a knife. Joe then finds Noah sitting and waiting for her, and a fight begins. At first, Noah gets the upper hand, knocking her to the ground and demanding she hand over the drive, but Joe says she doesn't have it, making Noah so angry that he tries to kill himself. Joe stops him, throwing the gun away and grabbing the wrist bomb without him noticing. Kicking him and hanging on for dear life, Noah tells Joe that she is lost, but Joe shows him the pulse bracelet, and in the moment of shock, Noah tries to climb back up. Joe pushes the rope, and Noah falls to his death. With everything safe and calm now, the detective walks up to Joe and asks for the drive, but Joe lies, saying they never had it. She asks if she gets to keep the $33 million, and the detective says she has to give it back. A few days later, the leaked video showing the Milton brothers and the company's shareholders confessing their terrible actions goes viral on social media and the news. Meanwhile, Joe and her brother enjoy spending time together. What would you do if you were in her shoes? Let me know in the comments. So if you liked this, hit subscribe and turn on notifications for more recaps. Thanks for watching. See you next time on Warner Movie Recaps.